Today on the channel, we've got possibly the biggest Universal monster of all time, and I had to bring my dad over to help, as today, we've got Dracula.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, welcome back to the channel, and today on the channel we got a special guest, as we always do for these NECA Universal Monster figures. I got my dad.
Hey, good to be here.
Good to have you back here helping us with these Universal Monster figures. Always a lot to talk about with these guys here, but today on the channel, some may say we got the biggest Universal Monster character of all time. We got the man himself, we got Bela Lugosi. We've got Dracula, but remember, for all your Dracula needs and everything else under the sun, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. And of course, anything over $39 does ship free. And Dad, I've seen you use that code many a times, but you always text me and you always say, how do you spell Kyle? Yeah. It's always funny how he does that.
Well, it's a very good place. Excellent people, excellent service,
Yes.
great products.
Yes.
I've worked with them for about 5 years, I think.
That's true. You've been a long-time supporter. I know you have, so there you go. But today, we're talking the big gun. And I would say, what do you think? Where do you put this? I think you had it high on our list.
I had it number one when we rated these,
Yeah.
and it's 1-2 with Frankenstein. But very iconic 1931 movie with Bela Lugosi,
And for me, I'd say, really, I gotta be honest, Creature from Black Lagoon is gonna be my favorite. Everybody knows that. But I think when most people think Universal Monsters, it's right up there with Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula. Probably Wolfman number 3, but Frankenstein, Dracula, probably the most well-known. Maybe Invisible Man. No, throwing it back to last video, but no.
Well, this should be right up your alley. It's Cape season.
Very true. You got a
You
point.
don't get that with a creature.
Hold on, let's stop.
We've been prepping you for this your entire life. So cool.
Got to put Lando in there. We got to put that Lando clip. Did you see that clip of Lando? That
I
one?
did, yeah.
He's been preparing us our whole life for Cape season. That's some kind of annuities commercial.
What a guy.
Good old Billy D. Williams, one of the all-time greats. But you're exactly right. You bring up a fabulous point very early in the review about this Cape season. Truly, Cape season, a year-long event these days. So I'm all in on the Cape season action. Dracula, one of the OGs of Cape season. I don't know. Could he be the first one to wear a cape? Counts, capes? I don't know.
Could be.
Could very well be. But of course, Dad...
Only when we remember, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But of course, Dad, we are going to do this review like we do all the other reviews here on this channel. We are going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So let's look at the packaging on this Dracula. Absolutely fabulous packaging on this thing. This is quite the figure here. And of course, it took them a while because Bela Lugosi and his family are not one to give up their license easily. They got to really approve stuff. I've heard they're one of the hardest approvers to get. So really something special right here today. And of course, we do know we have his coffin accessory kit coming out down the line. Be another one that's a must-have pickup. And then there's also going to be a black and white version of this. And we'll talk a little bit about that maybe later on in this video. But there it is. There's old Dracula. Now, Dad, you were saying this is a movie poster, correct?
I think that is the original movie poster, and if my memory serves me, that is one of the highest priced movie posters out there that you can buy, at least the original.
Yeah, and I'm sure all of them are probably pretty worthwhile. And I think part of it is Dracula, wasn't he the first? No, he wasn't the first, was he? He was early, though.
He was really the first in the line of Universal Monster series in 1931. I think Frankenstein followed. The Invisible Man was further down the road, and Wolfman further yet. But unless you go back to some of the early silent films,
Like Phantom of the
Opera,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So forth. This would be the first one.
That really talks and is
Right.
most well known for
Right.
sure. That's part of the reason I don't like that Phantom of the Opera very much, I think. But definitely Dracula. And I would say this poster is less iconic than the traditional Frankenstein one, or even the Wolfman, or the Wolfman meets Frankenstein. And I think it's because it is so much older and maybe not as many eyes were on it, not many people saw it. But I've definitely seen this before, but it doesn't resonate like the Frankenstein poster does to me. And maybe that's just me. Who knows? You could be different. Sound off in the comments down below. But on the front here it says Carl Lammel, is that right?
Presents, yeah.
And
Producer.
I don't remember that guy's name, but featuring Bela Lugosi, David Manners, he was such a well-mannered guy, they named him David Manners.
Yeah.
Helen Chandler, Dwight Fry, the Ballad of Dwight Fry. We all remember, of course, the Alice Cooper song from the 70s,
That's
never
true.
forget. Edward Van Sloan, Todd Browning. This is the Ultimate Count Dracula. So I like that they put the Ultimate NECA in there. They made it look like it was part of the poster. kudos to NECA on that. Beautiful, beautiful shot of the figure right here. How about that right there?
Excellent.
That is excellent, with a little bit of light on the eyes. I mean, Bela Lugosi, it was like he was born for this role. I think everybody would say that. There he is on the side there. Dracula on the top. On the back, that's where the magic happens. That's where the glamour shots happen. You got the old Dracula down there by my hand, looking really, really good. And then, of course, with NECA, as we always know with these, since we were kids buying NECA figures, it's always been this way. They open up with a little Velcro. Velcro goes a long way. Velcro and magnets, has there ever been better inventions? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
But there's old Dracula, the old Count himself, looking really, really good. It doesn't look like there's anything to read on here.
No.
I don't see anything. There's no story. There's nothing. Nothing. So we're just going to dive in. That's
It's a
what we're going
well-known
to do.
story.
It is.
No need to reprint it.
Yeah, everybody knows the story of Dracula. And would you say Bela Lugosi? I think this is a no-brainer. Your favorite Dracula? Yeah, probably. I don't know if anybody
Take
can
a
really
look at the
argue
figure
that
here,
much.
You bet.
All right, what do we got going on here? Oh, what is this?
It's an extra. Oh, it's a cape.
This is the 2 cape. Cape season is going to be... You can get this cape out for me.
Okay.
The cape season is turning into a double event here. There's Plastic Prison. 2 capes with Dracula, a soft goods, and a regular one. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? But we got a lot of twist ties with this Dracula here. They don't want him going anywhere. Dad, what do you think about this cape? Tell us.
It's very heavy duty, and it's got a collar on it that fits in the back, but it's nice and
got a nice
and
weight
heavy.
to
It's
it.
not going to tear. It's not going to disintegrate.
Now, the million-dollar question is it going to stain the figure?
That I don't know. It looks like good quality material. It's certainly not cheap. It almost
Okay.
feels like silky.
Oh, wow. Well, we like to hear that. We like to hear that, especially in our cape season. We take our capes very seriously here on the
I
channel.
understand that. Yeah.
It's very serious business. But I'm going to get Dracula out. I'm gonna pop all this different stuff out and hopefully not lose anything off the table.
Here we go.
Grab everything. Apparently there's a stand for that bat. Maybe we can put that together. I think this is probably it. If you want to plug this into that.
All right.
We got a stand. Look at this. This is extra attention to details. We do got a stand for the bat. So that is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, bat. All right. Fight me. It's always fighting, especially this head. Not want to come out. There we go. There we go. All right. Hold on. Hold on. We got bats flying. This is amazing. This is quite the set here. Got twist ties everywhere. Off to the side. See you later. And let's start breaking the accessories down on this figure first. That's usually where we start. Dad, you can hold on to Dracula and hang with him. But I guess we'll start with his stand, and Dad plugged this together. A nice black base. At first, I looked in the package. I thought this was a stand similar to the Wolfman. Maybe Dracula had trouble standing. Apparently, that is not the case. But nice here, nice stand, and it's a real high stand, which I really, really like. And then you do get the bat, of course. So, of course, you got to have a bat for Dracula. I believe he had bats around him even when he wasn't transformed, but I think this is a 2-in-1 thing going on here. This is supposed to be him when he transforms into the bat, and then he's got a big hole in the stomach for the bat. Plugs right in there, and, well, it's a little dangerous. You might have to heat it up. Can I get it in there without breaking it? No, not really. So I might have to heat this up just a little bit. The stand could easily break, so it's got a little bit of give to it there, but that will go in there eventually. But it is a good-looking bat for sure. You got the fangs out there, the nice red eyes. Definitely looks like a bat. Probably the best bat accessory I've ever had here.
I would say.
So I'm pretty cool with that. That is a pretty good-looking thing.
Well, bats of a feather flock together.
Sure, that works for me. It works for me. All right, now what else do we get with him? Of course, we get extra hands for old Count Dracula. Now, Dracula's not a guy that throws a fist, apparently, because there's no fist with him. He doesn't have fists. So that is a little strange, but I guess he lets his mouth do the talking.
He has hypnotic eyes.
That is true, too.
He can mesmerize you, so he doesn't need fists.
He can do that kind of stuff. So we do got 2, like, splayed-out hands on him. Yeah, and then we get 2 more kind of splayed-out magical hands to him, I guess we'd call it. Giving a little of this, a little clawing-type hands. Got the nice ring on there,
He's
of
always
course.
asking people to
Come hither.
come hither.
Yeah, he's giving a little of that. So we do got that. We do got a gripping hand as well. So we get 1 gripping hand and 4 kind of open hands here. So that's a little different. No fists, but I don't think fists were needed in Dracula's case this time. So that is another note of interest here. Stick this off. Now, one thing about Dracula is he was a fantastic house guest. And I guess if you're a vampire, you need to be nice to the people because that's how you're going to live. You got to suck their blood, so you got to bring them in with your charm. And he was very charming,
Very
of
good
course.
host, you bet.
Very good host. So now we do get a serving plate here. Looks like it's seen some things. Looks like
Yeah.
it's been through the dishwasher a few times. It's a little beat up. But it's a nice serving tray. And then we get 2 wine or blood. What do you think this is?
Those are wine goblets, I think.
Okay. You think it's full of wine
Yeah.
and not blood?
I think he takes the blood directly. He doesn't
Okay.
need a goblet.
He doesn't drop it in and save it for later.
Right.
He doesn't wine up his own blood.
No.
Okay. Well, then we get a wine bottle as well. So he's served all this
You
stuff.
remember in the movie, Renfield, the solicitor who came to his castle to seal the deal on real estate at Carfax Abbey in England, was served this bottle of wine, which mellowed him out to the point Dracula's brides tried to attack him, but ultimately Dracula attacked him and
Hold up. He's mine.
didn't need a goblet.
No, didn't need a goblet. So, and then Renfield, of course, I hear there's a new movie coming out called Renfield, starring Nicolas Cage.
Oh, it could
It
be.
could be.
He'd be an appropriate person to play
Would he?
that part today because I think Dwight Fry is Renfield, and he was in about every Universal movie you could think of, from Frankenstein to Invisible Man. He was in that one too, but he was in about 100 movies,
Wow.
and he typically played a crazy, offbeat, or psychotic character, and he definitely turned psychotic in the movie Dracula.
And that's where the Alice Cooper song, The Ballad of Dwight Fry, comes from.
Right.
So bringing it all around to earlier,
Right.
too. So we do get the wine and stuff like that going on, looking good. And then we do get the candle. What do you call this thing? Like a candelabra? Is that what they call that? Or is that Liberace?
Yeah, that's more candles than one in a candelabra.
That's
That's
true.
just a candlestick that he carried down the steps of the castle when he greeted Renfield, who was just appearing at his home in the dead of night.
And it's crazy to think about. It's kind of like I always go to the grocery stores. I've been in a grocery store or two in my
I've
life.
heard that.
A lot.
I've
Maybe all the times. But one thing you see at grocery stores everywhere is COVID masks. Now, nobody's buying COVID masks. Can you imagine the profits that were made off of those masks the last couple of years? And then the talk about the rise of the peak and then down, just like dropped like that. Sales gone, can't give them away. Crazy stuff. And I kind of correlate that to candles back in the day when electricity was first formed. And you imagine how many people were buying candles all the time back then, or making their own candles, doing all that work, and then just overnight they lost all their business. Now candles are thought of about like, oh, I'm going to make my room smell good. That's what my wife does with candles all the time. One of these days she's going to burn the house down, and then it's going to be. I'm just going to say, let me go down with the house. I don't know. But anyways, candles, back in the day, people were carrying them around. That's how they'd go through, especially at night in an old castle. Makes all the sense in the world. So very cool, very ornate. And I'm sure back then they had nice candle holders. And that was a sign of wealth, was your candle holder and thing. And that's why I was kind of accustomed Dracula to. Now, would have been really cool to take this to that old next level and put a little battery in here, make this light go on. Oh, man, wouldn't that be something? But we'll work on that on a shop project in the afternoon. We'll see if we can figure that out. But anyways, now we get down to the figure itself, and let's start with the heads. Now, we get 3 heads with Bela Lugosi. Now, that is a pretty good deal. And Dad's already ahead of the business. He is a true professional. He put them on a ringside collectible stand. He also used Discount Code Kyle to save 10% on those stands.
Those are good stands.
Those are good stands, and they're very universal. Work across
They
the board.
work for
here.
everybody.
Work for everybody. But boy, this cape fits perfectly on here. This really, how does it cling on?
It just goes around the back of his collar.
Okay,
This
yeah.
Fits perfectly.
Wow, this is really nice because we've seen a lot of capes from action figures over the years that fall off or have a chain that breaks off. Things like that. This just like plugs in and locks in on the neck perfectly.
It's kind of rubber.
Yeah, it's got like a hard rubber collar at the top. But man, that is something else. It's early. I haven't even went through all this stuff here, but this is looking at going to be a top 10 miscellaneous figure for 2023 for me already. We'll see how the black and white one does, but this one, absolutely amazing. That cape, like you said, is nice. Very, very nice. And I guess you really don't have to worry about the cape staining, because if it does, it's already black on his tuxedo, I guess we'll call it. But looking really good. But let's look at these heads here. So the stock head here, what would you describe that? Just kind of his playful smile, like he knows somebody, he knows he's got a meal coming at him.
A knowing look. A very knowing look.
A very knowing look, and very, very good look. And man, looks like Bela Lugosi all day long. We've seen some stuff, that somewhat looks like Bela Lugosi over the years. Jada Toys has a Dracula version out right now it's supposed to be Bela Lugosi, but it's nowhere near this NECA one. And man, that looks really, really good. It was the role he was born to play.
Yeah. I would say if you're going to do a Dracula figure, it has to look like Bela Lugosi. He is Dracula, although he only played Dracula in 2 movies, the original Dracula and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Yep.
But that looks like Bela Lugosi. Probably better than any figure I've seen in terms of likeness.
And I've heard he's very tough. I think we talked about he's very tough to get the likeness rights too. And you got to really do it upright with a lot of samples, a lot of checks back and forth to get this. And apparently NECA did this because absolutely slam dunk
Very
right
nice.
here. And poor Bela Lugosi, he had kind of the curse of the Universal Monsters a little bit. You know, he was, you get typecast. You do such a good job in a role sometimes, it's tough to move on from there. And he got a little of that. Was it Lon Chaney Jr., same type thing? Some of those guys, they just fell on hard times later on in their movie careers. A lot of bad movies, a lot of stuff like that.
He was typecast as Dracula, but unfortunately, too, he had a heavy Hungarian accent. Hungarian-American, and that limited the roles for him to weird scientists and hunchbacks and Dracula. And so he was typecast most of his career that way.
And that's what happened too, especially, I'm sure he was in some silent movies before back in the day too, I would imagine.
Back in Hungary, he was.
And that's the hard thing is too, a lot of actors, and I learned this from my, you guys, I don't know if you know this, I am one class away from a minor in film. Yes, that is true. The guy that's seen no movies, one class away, and when I do retire, I'm going to go back.
I would go back.
And I am going to get that minor just for fun. It'll be
go
fun.
back quickly so you can start making movies.
That's right. One class. I mean, who does it? But I was under westerns and film noir. Those were kind of the specialties classes I was in. And let's be honest, I took those classes because they were easy. I said, I need some easy classes to really fill out my portfolio. And that's what I did here. But they talked a lot about the olden times. Oh, the olden times. Probably Grandpa watched some silent movies back in the day, I'm sure.
Could be.
I'm sure. He probably saw some. But a lot of these actors had crazy accents that were, you know, really thick for the American audience compared to, you know, Hungary in this case. Or they had really weird voices.
Yeah,
so when
squeaky voices or whatever.
when the movies got sound to them, there's a lot of actors that are like, whoa, your voice does not work anymore. Be it a heavy accent, dialect, don't speak English, whatever. Or they had a really weird voice.
Yeah. Very few made the transition into talking
Very
film.
few. So quite the turn of events is what that was. But let's get into the heads here. So this is the good Kim Hither one. What do we call this one?
That is a hypnotic one.
Oh,
it looks
yeah,
like
there you go.
hypnotic eyes staring at you.
There you go. Very good. So hypnotic. This looks like an angry store manager is what this reminds me of. Back in my earlier days when I was a sales rep back in the day. That's kind of the look you'd get when your company runs afoul and you meet them in the office.
Don't you dare touch the apples or the cucumbers in here.
Exactly. And then what do we got with this one here?
That is where you're getting ready to strike your victim, it looks like.
Now, gosh, it's been a while since I've seen Dracula. I can't remember how many years, but I've seen it a bunch of times. But now that I think of it, he never showed fangs in the movie, did he?
No.
Yeah, that's one
It's all
thing.
left to your imagination, which most Universal films are.
Yes.
So he would make a move, you wouldn't see him in a person's neck, and it would fade out, and that would be that.
And there's something to be said about that sometimes. It's like, hey, I love gore. I love decapitations as much as anybody does. But sometimes you just leave it to the imagination. It's even scarier. And I guess that's an old, once back to film class, an old Alfred Hitchcock technique back in the day. You know, Alfred Hitchcock, occasionally he presents. I don't know if you ever watched that show back in the day.
I did, several times.
It was a good one. What years was that on? 50s?
That was in the late 50s, early 60s.
That's right. I used to watch it on Nick at Night. Remember Nick at Night?
Yeah.
What was that show on Nick at Night back in the day where, and you used to watch it with me too, and you'd get a chuckle or two. And I think even Mark Summers, my Double Dare legend Mark Summers, but it was like they showed old movies and stuff and they dubbed like voices over the top.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
I do.
It was like a Nickelodeon or Nick at Night show, but I used to love that show, and I think you liked that as well.
Yeah.
They also used to show, what was that TV show about the chimp that talked? Lancelot
Link.
Lancelot Link. I love Lancelot Link. Give me that show back. Why is that not making a comeback? I love that show.
It was absolutely terrible.
You didn't like Lancelot Link?
Absolutely terrible.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And then I used to watch Donna Reed on Nick at Night. Remember Donna Reed?
I do.
I believe she was from Iowa.
She was? Denison, Iowa.
Denison, Iowa. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend going to Denison.
She was in A Wonderful Life.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And then My Three Sons was on there. That didn't hold up. I watched that a while back. Didn't hold up. I liked it when I was a kid. What was that kid with the glasses?
Was it Chip?
Chip. That's right. It was Chip. What other Nick at Night shows were on there? Car 54, Where Are You was there back in the day. Anyways, we could do a video just on Nick at Night classics.
You just need to tie all that in with Dracula.
How do you tie that back? You don't. You just don't. But anyways, this is the scary I'm going to bite you one. But like I said, there is no fangs to this. So very, very interesting there. So now we get down to Dracula here. We're going to walk through the articulation really quick. Arms do go all the way around. Single jointed elbows, very tight joints on him. But man, talk about these hands' expression. They add to the character here, these hands. You get them in different poses, things like that. man, speaks a lot without saying a whole lot. Is what these hands do. You do get the waist articulation, not a ton of movement here. Of course, Dracula isn't necessarily Spider-Man, even though he can turn into a bat. But you don't need a ton of articulation out of this guy. Head back and forth, side to side. They do have the Lon Chaney werewolf, or Wolfman type head style where you pull the neck out. It's just not the head. So we do have that here. I guess you could grab the Lon Chaney head and put it on here if you wanted to. If you want to mix up and say Lon Chaney is now Dracula.
Bizarre.
But he does do those big old Dracula splits. I think Bela Lugosi was really known as a gymnast back in Hungary, I'm sure. Or I just made that up right now. Somebody can fact check that. We do got single jointed knees on him, looking good. You do get, of course, the side to side as a custom by NECA. You also get the kind of hips that move all the way around. Ankles back and forth, side to side. Looking really, really good there. Now he does got, is it a 3-piece suit? I guess it is.
He does have a white vest.
White
and
vest.
He's got his medallion, and then the short, long-tailed coat.
That is one thing, the medallion there. So, of course, he was Count Dracula. So I'm guessing this is like a Count medal of some kind.
Every count has it.
Yeah, they do. And that's something that's missing in our society. I think we should get those back. You know, I usually wear my Guinness Book of World Records trophy thing around my neck when I go around. You see me wear it over.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
If you don't have one, you don't really count.
Yeah, you don't. That's true. So, looks good. Got the red there. That is one thing that really pops on this, is the red there around the neck. It really shines some color on an otherwise pretty dark figure here.
White bow tie.
A white bow tie. Bow ties all the rage back then. I've never been able to pull off the bow tie. I'd love to do it. It's just I'm a tie guy. I just can't do it. And then, of course, one of your favorite accessories on suits, the pocket square.
There you go.
You told us in The
Gotta
Invisible
have
Man
one.
how you used to wear the pocket square. So
Absolutely.
we're holding you to that. But it looks good. You got the chains in there. Good coloring. I don't see any paint issues. I don't see any paint problems. Anything here at all. Just absolutely, absolutely fabulous Dracula. Possibly the best Dracula figure of all time. Would you go that far?
I would say that. I think that's the best likeness that I've seen anyone capture in a long time. And the likeness had to be Bela Lugosi. It looks just like him. You wouldn't have to explain that to anyone. That
Anybody
is
that
Bela
knows.
Lugosi.
Yep.
So,
Anybody that knows. I think you could take this to Grandpa Peterson, for example. Say, who is this? He could tell you in a heartbeat,
Right.
even though he's not a Dracula
and
expert.
that would be all three heads.
All three
All
heads.
three heads
Agreed.
of Bela Lugosi.
Agreed. Good accessories here. Do you think we were missing any accessory we could have had with this? Was there anything else that was needed, do you think?
You'd have to expand it a long ways to put in other accessories. The only other accessory, are you going to put in Dr. Van Helsing, or are you going to put in Renfield, or those things come up?
What does your gut say? Do you think NECA will take the plunge and get Renfield, get the Dracula's Brides and Van Helsing? Do you think we'll really build out that universe? Do you think they'll go that deep?
I don't think those figures are as memorable to people, and a lot of people wouldn't relate to them unless they're my age and older.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either. But you
No.
never know. It'd be really cool to build out a little universe, a little shelf
It would.
room of that whole thing, and I'm sure you'd be a buyer.
Yeah.
You'd pick them all up.
You bet.
But of course, we do got some of the other famous monsters. I figured if we're going to get Dracula, we got to get out the big four, of course. So we got Frankenstein, and I brought the colored ones. And like I said, there will be a black and white version of this. Going to be really interesting to see which one's better, the color or the black and white. I kind of go back and forth. I get a little confused. Sometimes I like the black and white better. Sometimes I like the regular. They're not that much different, but they are so different. It's just really weird to me. But there's Frankenstein there, and of course you got to get the Wolfman. Everybody loves the Wolfman. Just really, really good. Lon Chaney, of course. But these are the color ones. And then the other newest monster to the Universal Monster list is, of course, Andre the Giant. Very, very scary monster. Could go toe-to-toe with Frankenstein, really, I think, at this point. But you got to have those classic monsters all here at the table. Just a murderer's row of iconic monsters. Just monsters. So you got, of course, a Frankenstein, a Dracula, a Giant, and a Wolfman. So it makes all the sense in the world there. All in color. I didn't bring my black and white Andre either. But looking very good. A very, very good group here. Very happy to build these guys out. I think it's really iconic to have. This is truly the big three. Even though I'm a creature guy, this is the big three, and we do know the Creature from the Black Lagoon is coming this year in 2 versions, black and white, so I can't wait to dive in on that one. But man, NECA absolutely killing it with this Universal Monster line. Very excited for the future. I believe, Dad, you're going to be back here probably in a week or so on the channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're going to be back. You know, you had a little bit of a gap through the holidays, but they're cranking stuff out. We do have the Frankenstein accessory set coming very, very soon. So we're going to have to dive into that. We're going to have to take a look at that. I'll have to show you some pictures after this. They did just announce The Bride of Frankenstein officially with some nice glamour shots and stuff. So we'll take a look at that as well in the future. So to sum this all up, absolutely fabulous. Have to sit with it a while, but Doesn't get much better than this. That's how I'm going to say.
I agree. Yeah, that's great.
So you're happy you got one as well.
I am.
He
You
is.
bet.
Well, it's a game changer. It's quite the figure here. It's a long video, but this is a figure that definitely deserves it. So Dracula Universal Monsters, A+ in our book. But what say you guys out there in YouTube land? You picking this one up? You playing the long game? You passing? And really, there is no long game on NECA. They don't really go on clearance. So you better get it now or forever hold your peace. But he is starting to hit right now, so be on the lookout for old Dracula. Old Bela Lugosi himself. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Every time you like a video on this channel, my dad smiles. That's exactly what happens. He said he gets really excited. He always follows those likes, so make sure you give the old thumbs up. And then don't forget to subscribe to this very YouTube channel. You guys know we got videos every single day and then some. Hardest working man in YouTube. I'm like a young James Brown.
I've noticed that. Every time I turn it on, the page has
new videos
you on it.
That's right, you know. So I need to get a cape like James Brown. One of these days, cape season, I'm going to do it. And the kids are going to come down here. They're going to grab the cape. They're going to try to put it on me, and I'm going to be all down. And they'll be like, no, I'll throw it off.
Please, please,
please, please. And I'll say, no, I got one more in me. I got one more in me.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I did 12 reviews. Bam, bam, bam. I just got after it. But a lot going on the channel, and we always appreciate it if you do subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, if you want to see me and my dad's face much earlier than traditional YouTube, become a member of the old Patreon. Link in the description below. Early access to videos, Q&As, giveaways, you name it. A lot going on Patreon, and best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel, ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. And then don't forget to hit me up on social media. SirPaul64 is where you're going to find me on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. Dad, TikTok channel still going?
No, it's been closed down.
Oh, no.
We discovered the Chinese were stealing my dance steps.
Oh.
And I just won't tolerate that.
There has been
So, no more TikTok. I think we'll move to Rumble or something.
Oh, really? Okay. There's Hive or something, too, I heard. I think that's a new one that was supposed to take over for Twitter. But, yeah, I have heard the Chinese have been involved in the TikTok. And I don't understand the TikTok. I've never been on there outside of watching your videos, of course. But it's probably a smart idea because you've got a lot of sensitive data and a lot of sensitive dance moves that you don't need to be stolen early.
Exactly. I don't mind if they would ask me.
Yes.
And say, please, maybe.
Yes.
But when you steal them.
Steal, straight theft.
You don't tell me. That's just wrong.
That is wrong. So he closed down his TikTok. We're going to work on something new. I don't know if we'll just get a sub YouTube channel, what we'll do. But these dance moves, you can't keep them down. We got to get them. I heard, you know, I did hear through the grapevine, shout out to Jeannie, of course, your sister. It was her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to Aunt Jeannie there. But she told me this, that you have started putting plans in place and you actually talked to her about a possible St. Patrick's Day dance. Is this true?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I got bad intel somewhere along the way. So, I don't know. I was going to say, everybody's Irish on that day, at least.
That would be Irish step dancing. Although I'm part Irish, but I just haven't mastered that one.
I didn't know you were part Irish, so that means I'm part Irish.
You are.
Well, who'd have
Irish
thunk
eyes are always smiling.
Oh, that's true. I've heard that before. So there it is, Dracula NECA. Dad, thank you for coming on the channel.
You're welcome.
We'll be back very soon talking Frankenstein and his accessory set, so stay tuned for that one. So there it is, for Dracula, for my dad, I'm Kyle. I'll see you guys all real soon.